Are you thinking of moving to Tucson, Arizona? Before you pack your bag, you're gonna wanna make sure you watch this video because I'm gonna be going over questions from the heat to wildlife, the 10 most common questions I get from people like you who are relocating to Tucson. Now you're gonna wanna make sure you watch the entire video because there might be some questions you didn't even think of that are good to know. So let's get into the video. Up first, let's talk about the wildlife. Now, this is actually one of the most common questions I get is the animals and the insects and reptiles that are in the desert. And no matter where you're living, there is going to be some sort of wildlife that you are dealing with. And some people might think because we're in the desert, there's a little bit more creepy crawlies or scarier wildlife than other places. And truly, I've lived here my entire life. I'm born and raised here. I've never really had a huge issue with the wildlife. Some people automatically think scorpions or tarantulas or rattlesnakes. And yes, of course, we do have those. But in some cases, at least from my opinion, where I have lived, I really haven't had a big issue with it. Now, we have everything from coyotes, which you will see running along the roads or crossing the roads, and I guarantee you they're more scared of you than you are of them. But you do have to be careful if you are living in more of the desert area and you have a dog or you have, animals or chickens, that you keep an eye on them because, they're trying to survive out there as well. Another common thing that you will probably see is javelinas. And these are basically, I guess, the equivalent of like a pig or desert warthog in a sense. I think they're cute. Some people think they're very ugly and they're a nuisance. But, again, it's the wildlife that we live in. We're living in their home as well. I learned a very harsh lesson this year to not put fresh pumpkins out in my patio because they came in and I caught it on my Ring doorbell that they came and had a really nice dinner of organic pumpkins during the fall. So they will go through your trash, they will have any of the stuff that is left out, and this is all depending on the area. I think if you're more in the inner city areas, you're not really dealing with the wildlife as much. You will probably still see them here and there, but if you're a little bit more on the outskirts areas or more in the deserty areas, I live right by a wash, we have a little bit more traction of animals in general. Now, another thing that people are a little bit weary of is rattlesnakes and then scorpions. I have maybe seen in the wild or just kind of out and about in my daily, maybe in my lifetime, 4 or 5 rattlesnakes. I've never actually seen one in my backyard, but they are out and about, and as the weather gets warmer, they are a little bit more active. They're not as common as you think. You might see them going across the street, but again, if you see one, don't go up to it and try and pick it up or anything, but not as common as you would think unless you're out in the mountains or if you're out in the wilderness and desert. They might be a little bit more active. Now, scorpions. In my entire lifetime, I've lived in 4 different houses. I have seen 3 scorpions in the total of those 4 houses in my house. Not as common, of course, if you're in more deserty areas or if there's any building going around or ground that is getting pulled up and moved around, they're gonna move around a little bit. Again, we have pest services out here, so if you're ever seeing any activity of scorpions or spiders or anything like that, you can get a pest service out every quarter to spray your house, and that'll really help maintain and keep that wildlife and those insects out. Another common thing is we do have lizards out here. We do have some bigger lizards, but the more common smaller lizards that you'll see in your patio, they're very harmless. They eat bugs. And one thing to know too is for homeowners or if you're looking to move here, we do have subterranean termites. Now, they're not as crazy and overactive as you might see on the East Coast or southern areas where you have to fumigate the houses and tent them. But in the desert, it's not if it'll happen, it's more so when it'll happen. You have to be aware of the tubing that comes up, and they don't do as much harm as other areas of the country. Now, of course, if you let it go completely unnoticed and just let it go for years and years and years, it will cause damage. But I would say, every year you can always get it checked. If it's a new construction home, maybe every 3 to 5 years, or if you're seeing activity, definitely call to get it checked up. But as for wildlife, I don't see it being a huge issue. I am not the bravest when it comes to wildlife, so if I don't have an issue with it, if I've never really been too scared of going outside, that's not the case. Again, we're in the desert. You're going to be seeing some of these animals, and some of them are really beautiful, like owls, or you will have some big cats that come down from the mountain, or even some little foxes. Sometimes bears, rare that happens, but we're in the wildlife, and we're surrounded by mountain ranges, so we are in their environment, but not as scary as you might see online or what other people might be telling you. Next, let's talk the ever-burning question, the heat. How hot does it get here? We're in the desert. Some people say it's absolutely unbearable, but honestly, it's really not that bad. I think it's 10 times better than dealing with snowy winters where you are shut in, or dealing with negative 12-degree weather and having to shovel snow, or really not being able to do anything at all. Now, I think that Tucson, we get such a great climate, and we are in a valley, so you do get some greenery, and we do get cold in the valley as well. During the winter time, we're probably looking at in the mornings or late evenings. It can get as cold as your high 20s, so 29 degrees, maybe a little colder, but as the day goes on, it does heat up. On average, our winters maybe rest around daytime around 60, 65 degrees. Can get a little colder, can get a little hotter, but very manageable. You will still see people who are wearing shorts or short sleeves during the winter time. We have over 300 days of sunshine, so we get so much beautiful sunshine out here. We do get a really beautiful spring as well. As for our fall, not really as existent as other places. You will see the temperatures drop a little bit, but that's more so coming down from the 100 degrees and lower. We don't really get the foliage changing and those crisp fall mornings. That's a little bit more in our winter and early springtime where it's crisp in the mornings. Now for the heat. The heat is really not as awful as some people say. Now, if it's something you think you can handle, I think that Tucson's a great option. I would say that it starts heating up in May, and then June, in my personal opinion, is probably the hottest month because we have the pressure buildup before our monsoon season, which we'll talk about later on. You're looking at maybe 100 to 105 degrees on average that month, but with a little bit of pressure in the air. Feels a little stuffy. And then the rest of the summer, we have our monsoon seasons. And then other than that, it's pretty much a dry heat in general. Now, if you are looking to relocate to Tucson, if this doesn't seem too unbearable, my contact information is below. If you have any other questions that I don't go over in this video, let me know. You can either screenshot the number that comes up now, or you can go down below, you can text, call, email me, set up a one-on-one call, and I can answer all of your questions about Tucson or the housing market and what might work best for you. So just go ahead and give me a call or schedule a call with me. Now, with the heat, again, I've lived here my entire life. I've lived through it. Of course, we whine and complain about it when it is the summer months, but I do think it's better than Phoenix. Phoenix does get about 5 degrees hotter or so, which does make a big difference when you're in those triple digits. But you have everything from the pool, if you have a pool in your neighborhood or in your backyard. There's splash pads for the kids. There are so many indoor activities to do, and trust me that everybody is blasting their AC units. So you're going from your cool car after you're blasting your AC into a nice cool grocery store or your house. It's very manageable. It's just those hotter days where you'll still see people playing golf or swimming or doing any of those outdoor activities, but it does get hot. So you want to make sure you wear your sunscreen, stay out of the heat, and drink your water. Number 3, we're going to be talking about healthcare and the hospitals. I get asked so much, where are the hospitals in the area, if they're close by, if they're accessible, and the great news is I think that we have great amenities amenities and great healthcare centers very, very close in a lot of areas. So whether you're looking for a hospital or urgent care, I think they're super accessible. Now we're gonna jump really quickly on the map, and I'm gonna show you just a map of Tucson, where the hospitals are. I'm not gonna go by urgent care because there's quite a few in the area, but if you have questions about those, let me know and I can answer that for you. But we're gonna talk about hospitals in the area and just go over that. Now here you can see, this is a map of Tucson right here. Up in this area, over here where it says Oro Valley Hospital, that's going to be north. Over here where it says Saguaro National Park West, that is west. Down here where it says Tanque Verde, that is east. And down here by Sahuarita, that is south. So let's go ahead and start north. So if you are living in the Oro Valley, Saddlebrook, Catalina area, or even in this Dove Mountain, Marana area, you're gonna be looking at the Oro Valley Hospital, which is right here. It is right off of Tangerine and Oracle. Even just to give you just perspective of area, if you are right here where it says Tangerine Crossing or a little bit more west, takes about 10 minutes straight down Tangerine to get to the hospital. If you're up here in the Catalina area, same thing. Just go south down Oracle to the Oro Valley Hospital, about a 10-minute drive. So pretty accessible for the north area. Now, if you are looking more in this area, the Twin Peaks area right off the I-10, you do have the Carondelet Marana Emergency Center, and that's going to be your easiest access there if you're more on this side of town. This is more northwest. And if you are still more northwest, right in this area, so your Casas Adobes area, you have the Northwest Medical Center, which you're gonna see a few of those throughout town, but this is the biggest one in town, is Northwest Medical Center. In the central areas, let's go ahead and zoom out a little bit. You do have the Banner Health Center, which is going to be more central Tucson. This is a university medical center. That's Banner Health, and then they do have the Diamond Children's Medical Center there, specializing in child medicine and also cancer research and everything. So really great hospital. If you are a little bit more east central, you have Tucson Medical Center right here, which is TMC, Tucson Medical, and that's going, again, these are all less than 10 minutes or so from each other, which is great. Maybe about 5 minutes away. If you're more east, you have El Dorado Medical Center right here, and then less than 10 minutes, maybe 5 minutes, you have St. Joseph's Hospital. And I'm gonna zoom back out. If you are living on the east side, you have two hospital options. So you have Northwest Medical Center, which is Houghton. And even if you're living in this Tanque Verde area right in here, it's a 10-minute drive to get to that hospital, which is really great. If you're a little bit more in the Vail area, you do have TMC Rincon, so Tucson Medical Center. There's little smaller versions of the hospital, still full functioning hospitals, but you have two different TMCs, and then Northwest Medical branches out to different areas as well. Now let's zoom out. If you are more on the west side, you do have St. Mary's Hospital, which is right on the base of a mountain. If you've ever been to Tucson or if you're traveling here, you won't miss it. It is a big mountain with a giant A on it. And you have right on the base is St. Mary's Hospital. And then it does not show it on the map, but if you are living in the Green Valley, Sahuarita area, there is a Northwest Medical Center right in this area. It's right off of the Sahuarita exit, but if you're living in Green Valley, it's right in here. It's not showing it, not populating, but if you're living in Green Valley, maybe about 7 to 10 minutes max, because you're getting right on the I-19 to get to that hospital. Very, very close, very convenient. There is also urgent cares everywhere. So there is a lot of hospital options here in town, but even more urgent cares. So whether you're looking for affordable health care or if you're looking for an emergency room or urgent care, there are many, many options throughout town, which I think is a really, really good thing to have in a town like Tucson. You're really not having to drive far if you're needing to get to your medical facilities. Number 4 is transportation. I get asked quite a bit if a car is needed in Tucson, and frankly, yes, it is needed. We do have public transportation, but that is really just the city bus, and that's really only traveling in city limits, which I'll show on the map really quickly. It is more south of River Road, which is right through here. And then you have it going basically to, I think it's Houghton or Harrison on the east side, and then up through 22nd Golf Links area. So it's really just this area here. Other than that, city bus does not go outside of that. Their hours are a little bit more limited, but in my opinion, it is very hard to get around this town if you're not using a car of your own, or if you have an Uber or anything like that. We don't have high-speed trains or anything like that, maybe in the later future, but not right now. We do have a Sunlink train that goes throughout the downtown University area, but that's only about a 2-mile radius, and that's really for people, either students that are getting around, or if you're just kind of bopping around from downtown to University and going and looking at the shops or going out to eat. But long story short, yes, you do and will need a car to get around town to make it the easiest and most convenient for you if you're living here. Number 5 is our monsoon seasons. Now, I had mentioned earlier when I was talking about our summer months that, in my opinion, and I think for a lot of people, June is our hottest month, and there just is more pressure built up during that month because in July and into August is our monsoon season. And what that is afternoon thunderstorms and rain showers that happen during the summer months. Some people who aren't aware of them tend to be a little bit afraid of them because of other things they might have heard, like how quickly these thunderstorms and rain showers can come on, but I think they're a beautiful, beautiful time during the summer. Of course, when you are driving around in them, they're not as fun, so if they start to get a little crazy, you do want to probably pull over into a parking lot and just wait it out. But a lot of them, they go through the city. They don't last very long. Depending on certain areas, some can be as quick as 20 minutes and some can last as long as an hour or so. Just depends on the rain shower and everything, but they are moving pretty quickly through town, so you're not going to be stuck in one for an hour. The thing is they are thunderstorms and rain showers that come on very heavily. So it's more so a lot of people are nervous about the flash flood warnings or, getting stuck in it and being carried away. That doesn't necessarily happen. You just want to really use your common sense during this time to make sure that you're not swimming in washes, or if there are hazard cones and it says flood zone and you see active water going through, that you're not driving through and then getting stuck in it. But it's pretty kind of common sense in general. But I think they're beautiful. It creates a great relief during the hot months. You can get anywhere before the monsoon season where it's 100 degrees outside to right after a rain shower. It can get down to 80 degrees and really help cool off the desert grounds. And if you've gotten to experience a monsoon, I think my favorite smell is the ground and just the air after the monsoon rains on the desert ground. If you've been here or if you've experienced it, then you probably know what I'm talking about. But I think they're beautiful. They're one of my favorite times of the year during the summer months, and they're definitely a really great phenomenon to see in the desert mountainous area and just the cool thunderstorms that come through. Number 6, let's talk about the cuisine and the food scene in Tucson. Now, I might be biased, but I don't think I am. I think that Tucson has some of the best Mexican food in the country and even sometimes throughout Mexico. We are so blessed to have amazing Sonoran cuisine and Mexican food in our city. I think, again, some of the best. We are home of El Charro, which is the original creator of the chimichanga. And there's just so many amazing restaurants, whether you're going for a older local restaurant or one of the newer ones. There's an amazing food scene here in general. We are a city of gastronomy, which is one of the 2 in the United States that has that honor. And that means that we really optimize the original ingredients that have to do with the Sonoran cuisine and Native American cuisine as well. And we utilize those, not me, but the people in town that own restaurants have earned that honor of having that city of gastronomy. So we have cuisines from Native American to Sonoran Mexican food to Asian, Korean, African cuisine, everything, almost anything you can think of, there is an amazing restaurant here in town. I think another great thing about our restaurants is there are so many amazing local restaurants, and Tucson is very, very big on supporting local. And of course, we do have franchise restaurants and great options for that, but we have so many amazing local restaurants here in town, from local chefs or even chefs who relocated here and just have really jumped into the local cuisine and have just amplified our food scene. I'm also going to link down below, there's a link called Tucson Foodie, and it's the ultimate food guide. If you're ever coming to Tucson, or if you're looking to relocate here and coming for a trip, besides reaching out to me and getting in touch with me so that I can help you, my contact information is below. I'm gonna make sure that you look at that link for Tucson Foodie, because there are over, I think, 75 restaurants on that link and just on their page that go over some of the best cuisine in town. And we have so many great options. We don't have any Michelin stars yet, but I don't think you'll be disappointed with the culture that's here, the food scene that's here, and just what the town in general brings when it comes to food and bringing your family to the table and really enjoying a good meal, especially when it comes to Sonoran Mexican food. Number 7, let's talk briefly about the cost of living. Now, I am gonna do a separate video that you'll see soon that is a real in-depth version of the cost of living and really goes into detail about what it would cost to live here, what you can do with a budget and everything like that. I'm just gonna give some bullet points because it is different for everybody. Some people might think that Tucson is very affordable. Others might think it's a little too expensive. It's all perspective. It is cheaper than a lot of other places in the United States right now, but again, it's all perspective. It might not be super affordable for you, but for other people, it might be. So, just in general, property taxes. Now, a lot less than California and some other states. In general, for the city of Tucson, so within city limits, property taxes, you can go, it's around 0.79% of assessed value. Now, it does change, but that's pretty common for just the city of Tucson and the areas. If you're looking more in the Marana area, property tax is 1.02. So if you're getting more in the outskirt areas, it is a little bit more than the city of Tucson, but you do have a little bit more new construction options and just more options in general of homes, newer homes, a little bit nicer sometimes. It just depends. So property and taxes in general, they're a lot less than a lot of places in the United States, and that's just more so of what it looks like in Tucson. Now, for average home price, this is as of November 2024. They don't have the current stats, but as of November 2024, the median home price for Tucson was $363,000. What I'm really seeing, if you're looking more new construction, you can find a great home starting in the mid 300s and then going up well into the $1 million price range. And especially with new construction, if that's the route you're going, they do offer incentives and lower interest rates. So if you have any questions about that, you can reach out to me. But if you're looking more resale, the median home price in general is around the mid to high 300s. I am seeing those go a little bit quicker. There is a little bit more inventory that is hitting the market, but that's just in general for housing prices. Now, gas, that's ever changing. I just filled up my gas tank the other day and I was seeing gas at the $2.90. Again, depends on the area, depends on where you're filling up or the gas station. I'm not gonna talk about eggs or anything like that because those are ever changing. And in my other video that I'm gonna do, I'm gonna share everything from my utility bills to what it costs for someone who lives in a 2,200 square foot home, what it costs me monthly and what that could look like for you. So you'll wanna make sure you see that next video, which might be the next video or 2 videos from now, and I will give a very in-depth explanation on the cost of living and what it looks like to live here. Next, number 8, let's talk about where are the new construction homes and where are they located. So I'm gonna go and jump on the map right now, as you can see, and where it's dotted red, that is the city limits outskirts of Tucson. So majority of the new construction homes, and this is going to be those master plan communities where a lot of those big box builders are going to be more on the outskirts of Tucson. You're really not going to find a lot of new construction within the city in central Tucson. There are a few locations or some resale options from some newer builds that happened a few years ago, but if you're looking for semi-custom or more luxury, there are some options within town, but for the sake of this video, we're just gonna talk big box builders, and that's everything from like KB Homes, Meritage Homes, DR Horton, those. So for a lot of the new construction, we are going to be looking primarily in the Marana area, which is right in here in the Dove Mountain area. So Marana, Dove Mountain. You will have some in the Oro Valley area closer to Rancho Vistoso and Catalina. So again, you're looking more northwest. That is where these new construction homes are. And those are builders from Meritage Homes, Lennar Homes, DR Horton, Mattame, Pulte, all of those builders. And that ranges in price from the mid 300s all the way up to the 800s, 900s, and even some luxury like Fairfield Homes that gets into the multi-million-dollar range. So that's for Northwest. Now, if we are going into more of the southern area, Southwest, you do have some builders out in this area near Tucson Estates. And then if we're heading down here, you definitely have a lot of builders in Sahuarita and the Green Valley area. Your primary spots for builders are going to be Marana, Sahuarita, and Vail. And all right in here, same builders. You're going to have Meritage Homes, DR Horton, Lennar, all of those builders. The other ones, if you're looking more southeast, you have the Vail area, Rocking K area, which is in Vail, some in the Corona de Tucson area, but again, all in these outskirts areas. You're in Pima County, you're not in Tucson city limits. There is one builder that is in Tucson city limits that's on the east side, right here in the Houghton area, and there's one builder which is Meritage Homes. I think that's a great option if you're wanting to still have peace and quiet, be out, but be less than 5 minutes away from a Target, which is really nice. So right here in Houghton. And then as we get into the Tanque Verde Valley area, this is more northeast, you do have some luxury home builders like Fairfield. And then as we go more into the foothills area, which is north, you do have, again, more luxury builders like Fairfield, or if you buy a lot and you do have some custom home option builds in those areas. Mainly the big box builders are more Oro Valley, Marana, Tucson Estates, Sahuarita, and your Vail area. Number 9, let's talk about military. Now, Tucson is home to the Davis-Monthan Air Force Base, which, jumping on the map, this red dotted line right here shows where that base area is. It is located southeast of the central Tucson area, and we have a lot of transportees for Davis-Monthan, everything from military contractors to a lot of people who are moving here from all over the country and even all over the world. So it is a hot spot for military. And then we also do have a huge range of government workers, contractors, very, very big place for a lot of people moving if they're working through Raytheon, which is missile defense and engineering. So those are probably two of our biggest areas or biggest employers that move people into town or leaving. So Davis-Monthan, and let me zoom in so you can see, right in this area, which is also near the Pima Air and Space Museum, but right along the I-10 right through here, it is on the southeast side. So we have a lot of military. Besides that, also obviously the University of Arizona. So there's a wide mix of students, military, government workers, snowbirds, new families, all of that. But we are considered a military town because we do have an Air Force base here. So you will obviously we have the air show that comes through. There's just a lot of activity in this area. A little bit more high active if you're living closer to the base, you will get a little bit more air traffic and air noise. But if you're more in these areas, you really don't have that issue. It's really within the base area. So that's where it's located. If you're relocating for military, a lot of people are either living in the Rincon Valley area, the Vail area, Sahuarita, or even Marana because they don't want to be too close to the base and they can just jump right on the I-10. It's a very easy drive because it's just straight freeway. So lots of options. A lot of people are living in those areas. Number 10, let's talk about day trips. Now, again, I might be biased because I live here and I love where I live, but the great thing about where Tucson is located is you are so close to so many different areas and day trips or even weekend getaways that you wouldn't even think about. We are 4 hours away from a beach, which majority of people do not realize that. But let's take a look on the map and I can kind of explain some of the most popular areas for day trips. One of my favorite and one of the closest is just driving up the mountain to Mount Lemmon. This is a completely different almost ecosystem. You have pine trees, you're in a forest, you're in mountainous areas. The weather is about 20 degrees cooler. So if you are absolutely tired of the summer hot day and it's 100 degrees, you drive up to Mount Lemmon and it's 80 degrees there. It's absolutely beautiful. You can spend time there, go to the cookie cabin or get a slice of pizza. They have some new cabins up there that you can rent out and stay the night. It's absolutely beautiful, or you can even camp there. So that is about, depending on where you are in Tucson, but if you're starting right at the base of the mountain, it's about 45 minutes. So very, very quick and easy day trip. That's Mount Lemmon, probably the closest. Now, if you're headed down south, if you're going to just southeast, you can head to Benson, which is about hour and 15 depending on where you're living. That's a really fun day trip. Or if you're going, again, a little bit more southeast area, Sonoita. You can go and do a wine tour there, or it's a lot of fun. Beautiful, beautiful area. They have great wineries in that area. Or if you're headed more south, just south of Green Valley, from Green Valley, it's about 20 minutes. You can spend a day trip in Tubac, which is beautiful. They have one of my favorite golf courses out there. Beautiful resort out there. It's a little bit more green than Tucson in general, but really beautiful area. Now, I talked about a beach. So here we are in Tucson. If you head through this way through Ajo, cross the border, you're gonna need your passport through Sonoita. You can get to Rocky Point, which is also Puerto Penasco, and you can stay at one of the resorts there. They do have Americanized areas, and my family and I have gone there for years and years. I feel safe there. I haven't had any issues, but you can hang out in Cholla Bay. It is 4 hours from Tucson and you can be at a beach. It's absolutely beautiful and a lot of fun for a weekend getaway. And of course, if you're wanting to go shopping or go to any big sports events, depending on where you are in Tucson, we're about an hour and a half to 2 hours away from Phoenix or the Scottsdale area. There have been many times where I've driven up there just for the day to go shopping or have lunch or go to some sort of event or hang out with friends. So very, very close to Phoenix if you're not wanting to live there because prices are a little bit more expensive and it's just a bigger city. In my opinion, I think Tucson is a little bit prettier. You can be in Phoenix within an hour and a half depending on where you are in town. Now, speaking of a weekend trip, I think one of my favorite places to go is headed up north. Here's Tucson, and then headed to the Sedona area, which is right in this area. You have the Red Rocks, absolutely beautiful. You have great wineries, and then Flagstaff is 20 minutes away. So if you're wanting to get out of town for the weekend, Sedona and Flagstaff are beautiful, beautiful options. But Arizona is so big. You have so many amazing options. You can be on the beach in 4 hours, or you can be up in the Red Rocks in another 4 hours going in the opposite direction. We are 6 hours away from San Diego, about 6.5 to 7 hours from Las Vegas. We're in a really great area. You're getting affordable pricing out in Tucson, but you're still in such a great location where you can be in a different state, in a different area in 4 hours or 6 hours. So I love it. I think there's great options and beautiful places to visit here in Tucson. These were just the top 10 questions I get asked the most by people who are relocating to Tucson or looking to move here and just have these burning questions, or maybe in some cases like the animals or bugs, some fears. But the good news is I'm able to answer all of them for you. Being born and raised here, I have a great extensive knowledge on the area and what it comes when living here. So if you have any questions or if you're looking to relocate to Tucson, let me know. My contact information is below. You can set up a private call or a Zoom call with me, and I can answer any other questions you might have that I didn't cover in this video, or answer any of your home questions if you're looking to relocate. Again, my contact information is below and you can schedule a call with me. I'll see you in the next video.